Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Daysofourlives, March 4th, 2026. So we start off with Xander and Marlena. So Marlena's back in the hospital doing her therapy sessions, from time to time. So Xander is happy that she's there, even though it has been rocky between the two of them. It's been uncomfortable. Marlena still wants to work with him and help him better himself. Now, Xander changed the whole goal of his therapy session, which is he wants to get better for himself only, to be a better father, to be a better man for himself. He's not doing it to really win Sarah back or to be the best man for her, because he's been doing that tug of war thing for years now, and we, the viewers, have already seen that up and down thing with Sarah. He finally decided that, he's going to do it for himself. He's going to do it for his daughter because his daughter matters the most to him. And he just really wants to get back out there, do his own thing, have some fun. Because if Sarah can do that with another man and do all of that, then he can do that too. So he's telling Marlena that he, has been doing his friends with benefit things with Gwen. And, you can tell that Marlena doesn't really care or doesn't really approve, but she's not going to tell Xander that, it's not her place, as she said. So Xander was, telling her that, he's always been angry because of his whole thing with Sarah and it not working out. So he's just done with that. And I'm here for it. I don't really think they're a great match. I mean, I like him and Gwen, but I can see where it can be real toxic. And even Marlena said, he's turning back into a dangerous person. And, she could derail him back to where he started off from. Now, he did get a call from Sarah about their baby being really sick and being at the hospital, so he agreed to meet them at the doctor's office, right? So are you guys really a fan of Marlena and her daughter? Because honestly, if they decide to just leave, I would be so happy, because I don't think they bring nothing to the show. Paulina on this episode today was just super annoying, and she's always gunning for EJ. Even when he's doing the right thing, she always has to be on him. Just annoying. Don't you have nothing else to do as the mayor? I would think you would be that busy you don't care about what EJ might be up to or not. So it's like she comes and she does two things, right? One thing is she wants to thank him for putting up the road for Stephanie. So he said, is that all? So she said, you already know me, I'm gonna come after you for your high electricity usage, and I have the folder here, and we can compare what the city is using versus what your lab is using, and it's out of pocket, right? And I and my team want to inspect your lab yet again. Now, he did say the city inspected his lab and it passed and it was up to standards, but she doesn't want to hear that. She wants to re-inspect it again. Now, he offers her an opportunity to inspect it and see for herself. Now she's gonna say, I can't do it now, I need my team and we will come at a different time and all that. So he said, okay, can't say I didn't offer you, come when you can. So he asks her some questions at the same time, and he's like, how is Chanel's pregnancy doing? How is the baby tray doing? And also, how are Chanel and Johnny doing as a couple? So she said, I'm not gonna tell you anything because of Chanel and Johnny not wanting you in their lives, and you need to respect that. So of course EJ doesn't like that, but I'm just saying, Paulina can be too much sometimes. Not even sometimes, like all the time. She's just irritating to me. Kat also spoke with Gwen because Gwen was quite distracted. Now, they talk briefly about Dimitri and Leo leaving, and she's on the defensive, and she's saying I hope they get locked up and the key get thrown away for good. And Kat is just saying, are you sure that he's really guilty of what he's accused of? Like, it's allegedly. So Gwen said, what you mean by allegedly? Like, there's so much evidence. There's so much people that saw him in Alamania. Like, his clothing was left there that could, implicate him in this thing. Like, what do you mean? Like, I thought you were my friend. I thought you were on my side. And she's going on and just being defensive. And Kat is saying, I am your friend. I'm sorry, that I suggested that, right? I know you're going through a lot, and it is a sensitive topic, and Gwen did apologize for that. She also asked Kat how she was doing, especially Kat and the kids gone, and she said, it's a lot easier not seeing him around and having to hide, but at the same time she's still not over him. And Gwen said, at least you don't have to think about your husband dealing with your best friend. Like, I always have to worry about that. But you know what helps? I just realized I like just having a little bit of fun on the side. This friends with benefits. So she tells her about her dalliance with Xander and how it's going, and she's enjoying it. And she told Kat about her past with Xander, but now it's just really more friends with benefits kind of situation, and they're both understanding of what it is, and they enjoy in each other's time. Now we go on to Sarah, Maggie, and Holly, and of course Victoria in the darn stroller, because I don't see why they can't have this child outside and in a high chair or something. Anyways, they're having breakfast, catching up, and Maggie's telling both Sarah and Holly about her time with Maggie. She was up late. She visited Julie for her birthday, and just Julie's been going through a lot, especially with the whole Jeremy thing, and Holly was asking any words, and there's no word. And Sarah saying, I know Jeremy is like a grandson to you, Mom, and I know it's rough on you. And they talk about his father Mike, how he's beside himself. Ali just seems to just make it about herself and talk about how the cinnamon toast is lovely. And Sarah's like, really, Holly, at this time you're talking about toast when we're talking about Stephanie? She said, I'm sorry about it, but at the same time, I'm just really famished and all that. So, I was nauseated before. So Maggie said, like, yesterday you said you were this and that, and you were irritated and moody. And she said, yes, that's all true. So Sarah's like, are you pregnant? So she said, no, we've been on the pill. And she said, that's not really 100% safe, right? So she said, yeah, but me and Tate been using, and she didn't want to get into it because of course it's uncomfortable to discuss that with your grandmother and your aunt. Like, it's uncomfortable. So Sarah said that she take a test. So she said, you know what, I need to go. So of course, they're like, if only they could stay small. And I mean, yeah, right. I know as a parent, we want them to stay small, but at the same time, they got to grow up. And Sarah said something that is real relatable, that I mean, unless you want them to keep you up all night. So even Maggie was laughing, and I said, yeah, I definitely can relate right now. I have a son, and he keeps me up a lot in the nighttime, so I definitely can understand that whole sentiment, of course. But anyways, Maggie's saying that Holly has been, different, and Sarah thinks it's just her navigating college life and everything else, and that's teenagers for you. And she doesn't think Holly is on anything, even though she has experimented with that before. And Maggie's saying that addicts do lie and they cover up things, but Sarah, in her opinion, does not think Holly is using again. But I'm just saying, she said doctors are good at diagnosing, and I'm saying, why did she suggest that Holly, if Holly's taking any medication, maybe some side effects? Like, I don't see why that conversation hasn't been up. I don't understand that. She runs over to Tate and she's frantic. She's saying, I just had a breakfast with my aunt and grandmother, and they're thinking that I'm pregnant. And Tate is like, what? He had to scream it out, like, you're pregnant. She said, no, keep it on the down low. Like, they think so because I've been very irritable, moody, and I'm having, these cravings and all of that. So, before they could really figure out what to do, Ari comes over. Now, earlier, Ari and Tate were having a meal, and Tate was asking Ari if she could just, loan their room to him so he can, wine and dine Holly, make her feel better because she might be rejected from this sorority thing. So she said, I mean, you guys had it before, and he's saying yes, but I just want to make a special chair up. You can, stay with Aaron. And she said, really, for Aaron to just talk on and on about his video games, and we don't have nothing in common, and I really don't like it there. So she doesn't want to really give up her room, especially how Holly has been treating her. And Tate understands, but at some point, he said, okay, we can go over to my room. And she said, your room is very filthy. I don't think that's the right space. But she eventually says, you can have my room, but you owe me. She said she's go home for the night. Now, she does come back on them, and Ari, she leaves because, she is still upset with Holly for how she treated her, and Holly apologized. They get the news from sorority house that Ari is accepted into the sorority house and Holly is not because of her behavior. Now, Ari was gonna decline it because she really did it for her and Holly to do it together. And Holly said, "Go ahead and do it. It's fine. It's once in a lifetime opportunity." So she takes it and she leaves. And I'm just saying, Holly has this 180 about, I can't believe she really take this. She's not really a good friend, blah blah blah. And Tay's like, no offense, but we need to focus on something more important. Like we need to get a pregnancy test. Again, I don't know why Holly don't just go to her aunt, get checked out, tell her about this medication and let them examine it for any side effects. Let them get it tested. This whole thing about pregnancy test crazy to me. And anyways, Sarah said that doctors are great at diagnosis, and I'm just saying she was off the mark in that too, because she should have asked that as well if Holly's taking any meds. That just boggles me. And honestly, I really don't care about this darn sorority storyline. It's just ridiculous and just pointless. I really don't care about this storyline, this whole teen thing. But anyways, Kat goes over to EJ, and EJ said, she thanks him for this ransom. It's really noble of him that, he wants to help, and he doubles up the ransom money to help Stephanie. And he said he did it for the selfish reasons, to make Paulina think that he's a great guy, to make the society think he's a great guy, the people of Salem. And he asked Kat, because he does trust Kat at this point, maybe it's because of their time in Italy, he trusts her more than a lot of people, and that's really saying something, because you really don't trust people. Now he's saying to her, go into the lab, make it suitable so that when Paulina and her team come in, they see what they want to see without disrupting his research, because a lot is going on in there. So she agrees to do that, and it seems as if he's, becoming more and more attracted to Kat, wanting more than what it is. But listen, I would be here for it if it was really mutual. I could see it happening. I think it would be better with EJ and Kat versus Chad and Kat. What do you guys think? Paulina also, paid a visit to Marlena, checking in on her first day back. And Marlena also checked in with her, asked her how things going. She heard that Eli and Lani and the twins are coming in. She's happy about that. They could use some great news, especially what's going on. She also decided to complain and rant about EJ, and that EJ is just relentless in wanting to know about Johnny and Chanel and their babies. So she knows that EJ will never stop. He'll keep on prodding. And Marlena is saying like the Mira's family is very important to them. So, you're gonna really have a huge challenge on your hands. And that was really it with their conversation. But I'm just saying, Paulina just obsessed with EJ. Every waking moment is EJ this, EJ that. Like, if the climate change could be revolved around EJ now, she would want that to happen, because everything she blames on him. She and her, annoying daughter. So we finally see this little girl out of the stroller. Praise be to God. Now Victoria is sick. She has a bad cough, and now it's becoming worse. And Sarah calls Xander. Praise be to God on that too, because she did the mature thing, call her father and tell her father what's going on. So they meet up and they go to the they go into one of the rooms, and the doctor examines the baby, and the baby has pneumonia. She feels bad because she knows that she has this bad cough, and the doctor is saying, don't worry about that, like, you did the right thing to come in and get her checked out. Now Xander also tells her that he appreciates her calling him to talk about their daughter, and to be a part of this whole thing. There's no place he would rather be. Now Gwen saw them going in. I don't know if she feel a type of way that they went in to check in on their daughter, because that's what they're supposed to do. Gwen asked him earlier, because he did tell her briefly what's going on, and she wanted to help, and he said no, it's fine. He rushed over. I mean, what you're supposed to do, Gwen? And Gwen, you guys are the friends who benefit things, so don't bother have that kind of look like, oh, I'm not a part of this. So she's there, loitering, according to Maggie, because Maggie saw her and she's like, you don't need to be loitering around, you need to go somewhere. And I'm saying, Maggie, it's a free world, it's a free space, why are you telling her to leave the waiting room? Like, what's wrong with you? But anyway, she's telling Maggie, how is Victoria and all that? I heard what happened from Xander. She said, I heard about you and Xander, and I'm just telling you, I don't care. And you shouldn't ask me about Victoria at all. Like, it's none of your business, right? And Gwen is like, did Sarah tell you about me and Xander and all that? And she said, oh, I forget, you're one of them holier than thou Hortons, and you know what, let me go pray for Victoria then. So honestly, I like how she always interact with them Hortons, because they can use a little double dose of humbleness. But anyways, guys, comment below your thoughts on today's episode. Let me know. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow.